But now, because of this incident, the mayor of Portland is calling on the federal government to shut down this free speech rally. They want to revoke the permit of this free speech rally happening in Portland on Sunday. How's it going, everybody? I am still here in Chantilly, Virginia, where the Bilderberg meeting is taking place, a meeting of 120 to 150 high-profile individuals, politicians, heads of industry from around the world. Now, as many of you know, I'm not really someone who runs up to politicians and public figures and asks them questions on the spot, so there's not a whole lot for me to do here, but I figured it'd be fun to come and check it out and see what the local journalists and other journalists who come down here have to say. So I do have some friends who are out there right now asking some hard questions to these politicians. But there is something happening that more fits my MO. This Sunday in Portland, there is another free speech rally, and already this is generating a ton of controversy, but it's not necessarily the event that is generating the controversy. Now, if you're not familiar, let me give you a quick recap. Not too long ago, a man named Jeremy Christian was hurling insults and yelling at two young Muslim women when several men intervened. Jeremy Christian had a knife, a fight broke out, two of the men were killed, another was injured. Now immediately, news organizations started saying that this guy Jeremy Christian is a known white nationalist, a known white supremacist who is attending alt-right free speech rallies. They pegged this to Islamophobia coming from a Trump-supporting white supremacist who killed two Good Samaritans. But the story was very controversial. It turns out this guy Jeremy Christian was an ardent Bernie Sanders, Jill Stein supporter. He had posted how he wanted to kill Trump and Hillary voters. His stance on many of these issues aren't too clear. And to make matters worse, the news organizations showing these photos of Jeremy Christian giving a Nazi salute and attending this free speech rally, one of these photos is actually him being removed from the rally by the free speech rally attendees because they didn't want him there as he was spewing racial slurs and giving the Nazi salute. This guy was actually removed from the rally. So to say that he is a Trump-supporting white nationalist who attended these rallies is a bit disingenuous. The issue is a bit more complicated than that. There is a post circulating where it appears Jeremy Christian's intent on going to the free speech rally was a sort of false flag. He called it a psyop. The idea was he would go there and say racial slurs and give the Nazi salute because he knew he would be removed, thus proving that the free speech rally didn't really believe in free speech. And that may be what happened. But then we see news organizations use this to prove that he was actually aligned with Trump supporters, conservatives, and people attending the free speech rally. It may not be the case, but the situation is very complicated. This guy Jeremy Christian is an ardent free speech supporter, and he does oppose Antifa, so some of his interests are aligned with some people on the right, though he voted for Bernie Sanders and posted on Facebook how he couldn't bring himself to vote for Trump. It's not clear. You can't just say this guy is a Trump-supporting alt-right white nationalist. It's more nuanced than that. But now, because of this incident, the mayor of Portland is calling on the federal government to shut down this free speech rally. They want to revoke the permit of this free speech rally happening in Portland on Sunday. The mayor of Portland said that he will not and did not issue a permit for this event, that their city is in mourning, and that hate speech is not protected by the First Amendment. Now, as many people have pointed out, including journalists at the Washington Post and the ACLU, hate speech is, in fact, protected by the First Amendment. The Supreme Court has ruled repeatedly that no matter how hateful, bigoted, or just mean-spirited and awful your speech is, it is protected under the First Amendment, unless there is a clear and present danger, or you are inciting people to violence. This means that simply because there is a controversial moment, the event is allowed to continue taking place, and the mayor of Portland has no right to call for its being shut down. The ACLU said that the mayor should have had a private meeting with the rally organizers and asked them to either cancel or postpone due to the murders that just happened recently. Instead, the mayor's call to shut down the rally has just invigorated people. And now I'm hearing there are many more people who are interested in what's happening there, people from the East Coast planning on flying out. This might turn into something large because the mayor called for the event to be shut down. It's almost like the Streisand effect, that because the mayor tried to shut this event down, people are even more interested in attending. Now, Portland is considered a very progressive left-leaning place. There are a lot of communist, socialist activists, and a lot of people who engage in what's called a black bloc tactic. It's where they wear all black, masks, and you see a lot of vandalism coming from these groups. There tends to be a lot of violence, like we saw in Berkeley with Antifa. They were all wearing black hoods, masks, glasses, and they were throwing explosives into crowds. Recently, a man called the bike lock basher, Eric Clanton, had bashed 7 people over the head with a bike lock, and this was one of the Antifa protesters. Many of those people in Berkeley are believed to have come from the Northwest, including Seattle and Portland. That being the case, many people are worried that there will be violence at this rally. One of the concerns of the city is that not only is it a political issue where the city is mourning after these 2 men were killed, but that the potential for violence is there and the event probably shouldn't happen. However, counter-protesters are saying that they don't want to engage in violence, and they're calling on people not to engage in vandalism. A few organizers of the counter-protest said that although they respect other groups' right to autonomy and what they call a diversity of tactics, they're requesting people not to engage in violence or vandalism because at this point it will only hurt their cause. But at the same time, flyers have started going up depicting Donald Trump having his head cut in half by a chainsaw, where it says "not 1 inch." Activists are calling for militant trainings so that people can be prepared to fight back. But as it goes, both factions truly believe they're defending themselves. I will say, in my experience, say at the Berkeley event or at many of these Trump rallies, it does tend to be the counter-protests that get angry and incite violence. Not always, but it does tend to be the case, if even a little bit. The reality here is that the situation is significantly more nuanced than most people seem to know or even want to know. The event is probably going to happen, and I'm going to go and cover it. This is not just another small partisan conflict. This has captured national attention because of what happened with Jeremy Christian and these 2 men. So we do have something here that may shape public discourse depending on what happens in Portland. And I will be flying out, hopefully in the next day or so, to get some on-the-ground interviews before the event and then live stream the event as it takes place. So stay tuned, comment below, and let me know what you think. What do you think is going to happen? It's really hard to predict. There are many activists saying, keep calm, no violence, please. It's going to disrupt the message. But there are activists calling for militant training with violent pictures of knives. Things could get really rowdy, or they could be really calm. But aside from that, should the event take place? Other than that, you can click the like button. It really does help out the channel. It tells YouTube that my channel is good and that YouTube should show it to more people. Subscribe for new videos every day at 4 p.m. And stay tuned, I will be in Portland soon. I'll see you all tomorrow.